and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we need to have a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Second, please. All those in favor? Opposed? Tonight's agenda approved. We've got some action items from closed session. There appear to be 4 separate action items, actually. The first is we need a motion to approve the closed session minutes from November 7th and November 18th. Second, please. Actually, with the spirit myself.
Buresh? Phipps?
Yes.
Maddox?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Worley? Yes. Bryant?
Yes.
And Brewer?
Yes. And I've got some reading here that I have to do. Please allow me to read the whole motion before anyone makes it. Need a motion to approve the board's semi-annual review of unreleased closed meeting minutes and to keep the closed session minutes from the last 6 months, specifically May 23rd of 19, June 27th, 19, July 25th, 19, August 1st, 19, August 8th of 19, August 22nd, 19, September 26th, 19, October 21st, 19, as the need to maintain confidentiality continues to exist. The need for confidentiality also still exists to all remaining closed meeting minutes listed on the attachment there. Closed session written minutes and audio recordings older than 18 months, 1998, October 21, 2019, to protect an individual's privacy or the district's interest and shall remain sealed unless previously opened. Need a motion to do so. Ashley?
Phipps?
Yes.
Maddox?
Yes.
Buresh?
Yes.
Worley? Yes. Barry?
Yes.
Bryant?
Yes.
And Brewer?
Okay. Audio recordings. I need a motion to destroy the audio recordings previously sealed for closed session meetings older than 18 months, specifically May 7th, 2018, April 23rd of 18, March 22nd, 18, March 5th, 18, February 26th of 18, February 5th, 18, January 31st, 18, January 18th, 18, January 8th of 18. Second, please. Ashley?
Bryant?
Yes.
Worley? Yes. Barry?
Yes.
Maddox?
Yes.
Buresh?
Yes.
Phipps?
Yes.
Brewer?
All right, reading of a resolution. Whereas the Board of Education has received reports from the superintendent regarding the job abandonment of Kimberly Fagg, a paraprofessional in this district, and whereas it is the recommendation of the superintendent that Kimberly Fagg's employment should not be continued. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education does hereby determine that the employment of Kimberly Fagg shall terminate as of December 19th, 2019. The Board of Education hereby further authorizing and directing the President and the Secretary to give Kimberly written notice of such termination.
So moved. Second.
Ashley?
Worley? Yes. Barry?
Yes.
Maddox?
Yes.
Bryant?
Yes.
Buresh?
Yes.
Phipps?
Yes.
Brewer?
Yes. All right, section 4, communications. This is the opportunity for visitors to address the school board concerning any agenda topic. I would ask that you make your way to the podium, state your name, and keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, please. Does anyone wish to talk about any agenda topic?
My name is Mary Johnson, and I am employed at Chatham Elementary. And this was a lot less intimidating when I said I was going to speak, and in the confines of our friendly kitchen. But I'm not good at talking points or bullet points or PowerPoints. I just know what I feel, and I hope I don't flub this up, which is so crazy that I said that, because my mom used to say that word, and I've never heard it since, or I've ever used it in my life, so she must be here supporting me. She was an amazing woman, and anybody who would ever be in the same room with her would feel special. Just her presence in a room, you could feel that she was like an angel on this earth. She could make you feel the most important person, no matter what you did. She was not professionally educated, but she was the smartest, wisest woman I ever knew. Challenged life, but talk about somebody who can move on in life and walk the walk. I think I see the shirts that we wear that say, be kind, say kind things. My mother lived kind, and that's kind of how I feel like I want to be. My children have emulated her perfectly. I think I challenged her because I was her daughter, but she had a sense of humor that was amazing. I remember one day I said, Mom, can I go to Mary Pat's house? And she said, no, honey, we're gonna get ready to eat in a little while. And I said, well, I'm just gonna go for a few minutes. And she said, honey, I said, no. So I thought I could guilt her into, I could still hear her voice. I thought, she's gonna say yes. I turned around, I said, gosh, Mom, I thought you loved me. And she turned up and said, well, honey, you thought wrong. And I was like, oh my God. So that, but on the flip side of that, she was, I know she was taken advantage of a lot in her life. And for a moment, we all, Mom, you're different. She knew. Like, she didn't challenge anybody, but she knew what was going on in this world. And what was going on in her life, but she walked the walk. And I kind of feel like there comes a point in life and lots of things change, but respect for one another should never, ever change. And she lived by respect, hard work, and honesty, and that's what I'm gonna be now. I'm entering my 16th year at Chatham Elementary. I started on the playground, I went to the cafeteria, and now I'm in the kitchen. And in those 16 years, it's never been a job, because we can all get a job. This has been work. It has been a conscious decision to go in there every day and work with my coworkers, the children, and try to do what I was taught as a child. I started out at $8.50 an hour, which was sub-pay, until the board approved my position. Once my position was approved, I went to $10 an hour. 16 years later, my raises have been $2.74. So you can calculate what I make now. I am not trying to be disrespectful. That would not be something that my mother would be proud of, but I'm being honest, and that's what she would have been proud of. Thank you for recognizing me tonight. I wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and thank you.
Thank you. If there's any, go ahead. If there's others that want to address the board, on current contract negotiations, that's certainly more than fine, but we need to wait until the end of the meeting for topics that aren't part of the agenda, okay? So there will be another opportunity if others want to speak, but we're going to do that at the end, okay? Does anyone have any agenda topic item they want to address the board on tonight? Okay. Section 5, financial. We have a truth and taxation hearing. I have to publicly announce that I am opening the levy hearing process. Charlotte, would you like to comment?
The levy presentation hasn't changed from what was presented and discussed at last month's board meeting. It remains the same. I'm here to answer anybody's questions if they have any questions. Other than that, I'm asking the board then to adopt that levy this evening.
Is there any questions or comments from the board? Because this is a hearing, I need to address the crowd and see if there's any questions or comments regarding the levy from any visitors tonight. No? Then I need a motion to close the levy hearing and a second.
So moved. Second.
Ashley?
Phipps.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Maddox.
Yes.
Rush,
Yes.
Bryant,
Yes.
Worley, Brewer.
Okay, hearing is closed, 5-2. Now a resolution to adopt the tax levy. I need a motion to adopt the 2019 tax levy.
So moved.
Second, please. Ashley?
Bryant,
Yes.
Worley,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Rush,
Yes.
Phipps,
Yes.
Maddox.
Yes.
Brewer.
Okay. Yes. 5-3 is information only, that's bond notification. Charlotte, did you have any comments on this?
I do not. It's a legal requirement, so it's for informational purposes.
Okay, again, this was information only. Any comment from the board? 5-4, again, information only, bond final pricing results.
I would like to add that that was a presentation of just the final results of the refunding of the bonds. This was presented at the Finance Committee meeting last Thursday, and the minutes are posted on, as part of this agenda item, and there's more detailed information about this presentation within those minutes. If you
Okay.
need sleeping aids tonight.
All right, thank you, Charlotte. 6, consent agenda items. Is any,
I just wanted to thank Charlotte for kind of navigating us through that process and the bond refi.
Thank you.
consent agenda? Does any board member wish to pull it? Seeing none, I need a motion to approve 6.1 through 6.10. Ashley?
Worley? Yes. Bryant?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Rush?
Yes.
Maddox?
Yes.
Phipps?
Yes.
Brewer.
Yes. Section 7, personnel consent items. Does any board member wish to pull any of these? Seeing none, I need a motion to approve 7.1 through 7.20. Second, please. Ashley?
Phipps?
Yes.
Maddox?
Yes.
Rush?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Bryant?
Yes.
Worley? Yes. Brewer.
Yes. 8, new business. 8.1, GHS course handbook changes. Doug?
Okay, well, I'm actually
Jen,
gonna
I'm
open it up.
sorry.
Nope, it is Doug. This is gonna be a tag team between Christine, Doug, and I tonight. At our last meeting in November, we talked about how we've been exploring some new global course offerings that we could really expand and enhance what we're already offering at the high school and at the middle school level to bring some new opportunities to our students. That's part of our strategic plan under our student success goal. And Josh, Brett Moore, Christine, Doug, and I, prior to Brett, we have had a conversation about Project Lead the Way, which is really a gateway and some pathways to really give students hands-on exploration and problem-based learning in the areas of engineering, computer science, and biomedical science. So we have finally made the decision to take the leap, to go for it, and to bring some of those offerings for our students beginning next year. So you're gonna see a combined effort between the two because we're offering some gateway courses at the middle school to give students a little taste to see if it's kind of interest to them. So then that way, when they move on to the high school level, they can really take the correct pathway and make sure they take the courses that they need to be in line to be successful in those areas of interest. So I'm gonna hand it off to Doug. We're a little backwards tonight, starting with the high school first, but that's okay because we started with the end and we're working backwards tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for allowing me to address you tonight. I will start with Project Lead the Way, as we are going to implement 2 programs. I want to give you a little overview about Project Lead the Way. First of all, it does align with all English, math, and NGSS standards. It is career skills that employers really need and really want in a very much changing world. The last statistic I heard was that 65% of jobs that we are preparing kids for don't exist yet. And so these 2 programs that we're implementing will allow our students to get those skills that are needed. It is also, both these programs use the industry standard, and it is constantly updated. For example, Python and block programming in computer science is what is used. That is now the industry standard. And so that is what will be taught. It also coincides with career pathways. starting next school year, 6.5% of our school grade will be a part with CTE and career pathways. And these two programs will fall under those career pathways. They are web-based programs, and they are real-world projects and applications that the kids are creating in things that they are interested in. They also require students to do problem solving, critical thinking, collaboration, and teamwork, which is so important as we move them across that stage and into the real world. So the two programs specifically that we have looked at are Introduction to Engineering. The engineering and the computer science program, both of them, we will start with one course next year and build as the years go on, so that there will be a true pathway moving forward. As it goes with engineering, they do projects on water conservation, on things like affordable housing design and biofuels. And again, a lot of that is geared towards what the students want to learn and their projects. They learn how to do research, analysis. They cover engineering standards and technical skills, as well as technical manuals, which is extremely important when we're talking about reading text and stuff in the real world. They're also very hands-on, and in the engineering portion, they are using 3D modeling software, as well as they keep a notebook documenting all of their engineering stuff that they're doing in class. As it goes with computer science, again, I mentioned they are using the industry standards. They're going to be learning about Python to create apps and websites. We had the opportunity to go to Canton and view their program, and when we viewed the computer science course, students at the time were creating an app for a pizza restaurant. So how many toppings do you want, different toppings and things like that. And so they're getting that real world stuff. They're also going to learn how to get computers to talk to each other. There's different setups and programs, so they're going to learn that. And again, they're going to address problems that are really important to them. So those are the two programs. Introduction to Engineering will be the first one, or will be one of them, and then Computer Science Essentials will be the other one when it comes to Project Lead. The rest of the course handbook, we did add the Ncaa approved courses, a question we get a lot. It is very important for our athletes that want to move forward and play at an Ncaa school that the core classes that they take are Ncaa approved, and so we've included a list in the course handbook for that. In English, we removed some verbiage that will allow seniors to take 2 English courses, whether they want to graduate early or they're interested in going into some field in English, journalism, and something of that nature. And in science, we have removed the no standard, we removed the statement about standard courses, because in science we don't have any standard courses. So in some of the changes that we made, first of all, English, there is now a prerequisite of a B or higher in 8th grade English Language Arts for Honors English 1. And we've also added a service project in a formal presentation. Many of those Honors English 1 students did service projects this year. One brought in 100 coats for a coat drive that they did themselves. And so that portion of that formal presentation will be in that class as well. Honors English 2, we have deleted a sentence and added a rhetoric analysis. Under speech, we added a disclaimer that it is an elective. It does not count as an English course. It is an elective course. The AP, Language and Composition, and this is happening with a lot of the AP classes. We've changed the course description to align with College Board's new course description. College Board has adjusted and changed a number of them, and so we have adjusted that as well. And in Senior World Lit, we have changed the course description to more accurately reflect the course, both in A and B. Family and consumer science, in foods and nutrition 1 and 2, fashion design 1 and 2, interior design and child development, we have changed those course descriptions to more accurately reflect what is in the courses, and as well those CTE career pathways that are coming again next year. That's 6.5% of our school grade, and so we need to definitely reflect that. The same goes with sculpture and cartooning and comic art. Those course descriptions have changed slightly. In the world of PE, we have removed the BFS in athletic and strength training. We do not use that program. And then as well, strength and conditioning, 2 through 4, we removed the PLT 4M because that program is not being used in that particular course. And in science, we have dropped the term biology and added ecology and honor science, or biology 2. That was done in Bio 2 regular last year, or college prep, and so it is now to match that, we're doing it in the honors Bio 2 as well. Again, with AP, they have changed course descriptions in both biology and chemistry, College Board has, and so we have reflected those changes in our course book. Project Lead the Way, as I talked about, we have those 2 new courses coming in. In English, we are adding a course called Debate and Rhetoric. Our speech team has added a component this year, which is now speech and debate. And they are starting to compete in debate, and this will be a co-curricular class with that debate component that Mr. Carter will be running with the speech and debate club.
They did quite well recently.
They did very, very well recently. I believe they finished 4th in their very first attempt at debate. So, in fine and performing arts, we are adding treble choir and bass choir. That is actually going to replace freshman choir and mixed choir. The reason for that is then we can divide kids by their voice type and then better prepare them for the next level of auditioning for an ensemble and things of that nature. We are also looking at adding a music technology class for students that are not in ensembles like band or chorus. It provides kids with the opportunity to experience music outside participating in one of those ensembles and learning how to use software to create music. With the world of technology and the world of social media, kids are doing it all the time, and they're very, very interested in it. And so that course will allow more kids to get involved in music that may not. 2 social studies courses. One is brand new. One will be AP Psychology. It gives us another AP course, and we've had a lot of students express interest in getting more in depth with psychology. And so AP Psychology will be added, as well as advanced placement, micro econ and macro econ. Currently, we are running it as a semester class of micro, a semester class of macro. The problem with that is when you do that, those kids that took micro the first semester have to wait 4 months to take the AP exam. AP exams are not available in December when they're done with that course. So a lot of schools are going to this where you have 1 full year of macro and 1 full year of micro, better preparing the kids for those exams and more likely to do better on those exams. It also opens up those courses for younger grades if they're interested in taking those. These courses will be year by year, so one course will be offered next year, and then the following year, the next course will be offered. With the one caveat that next year we will do one section for seniors that would like to take the micro and macro in 1 year because they did not have this opportunity. But then beyond that, it will be 1 year. Technology education, there's been a number of kids. We have a dark room that has not been used in years. that have expressed interest in learning the traditional methods of photography and film. And so we're adding a film photography course. In the world of more CTE, actually, there is a course called MC3. It is a course that is new. It is in a partnership with the ROE 51, Sangamon County, and the local 137 union, trades union. It's run very much like the CEO, where the students will go in the morning for 0 hour and first hour. And this course really is focused on getting kids apprenticeships in the local unions and getting them in the workforce. They have done a fantastic job of working with the local union 137 and getting these opportunities for our kids. CACC is adding a number of courses this year, which is outstanding for our kids that want to do more of that hands-on CTE stuff. One is electronics and engineering 1 and 2. They're adding a horticulture component, both production and management, which is extremely big in central Illinois, to add a horticulture. They're adding a CMA, which is Certified Medical Assistant, as well as IT operations and programming. A few other things, course changes and new titles. World Lit A and B, that's that senior course that we renamed to align better with the content of the course, as well as just simply added an A and B next to the creative writing courses, so that there is a difference, so that kids know they take A and they take B. In choir, we are changing the name of concert choir to symphonic choir to match the highest choir in, which is kind of the industry standard for both choir and band. Is symphonic is your highest, and so we're going to rename that. Technology education, media design is changing the name to graphic design, and CACC has changed their Cisco course to information technology, networking, and cybersecurity. So that course at CACC is really going to be working on cybersecurity and some of those big kind of government ideas. Courses that we've dropped, majority of these are because other courses are being added. One in business is Introduction to Computer Science. That'll be replaced by Project Lead the Way Computer Science. In Family and Consumer Science, Fashion Design 3, we just have not had the kids in the last few years. We do offer Fashion Design 1 and 2, but we have not had the kids be able to offer 3. In Fine Arts, again, the freshman choir and mixed choir will be changing to treble and bass choirs. And looking at dropping the Humanities 1 and 2 that have not been offered in years. In foreign language, we are dropping French 3 and 4. They have not been offered. They were done online for the last 2 to 3 years, and so since we did not have a teacher, the French classes are being out of the book. Astronomy is being cut for lack of an instructor. And then the last part of this is the technology education. Many of these are being replaced by Project Lead the Way because much of that content and that curriculum that is offered through Project Lead the Way mirrors and balance or goes with these courses as well. And so there's no reason to have the same course covering the same thing. So those are engineering concepts and transportation, energy, drafting, mechanical engineering, and architectural structures. Those are all being replaced with those 2 Project Lead courses. And then finally, woodworking 1 and 2. We are going to offer, which is in the course guide, but it is production and marketing, woods production and marketing, which really goes into a simulated work environment. Not only do they learn soft skills for applying for jobs and working with people, but they are learning the woodworking as well as learning the business of mass producing such items and how to have run a small business, and things like that. So it combines both the woods and the marketing in one, which I think is a very, very cool idea. So those are the updates on the high school one. Kind of questions?
I'm gonna jump in for a minute.
Yes.
Is anybody like you thinking, oh my gosh, how am I gonna pick from all these courses for my kid? No, seriously, the high school team has really tried to take all of the feedback from the students and
Yes.
from the teachers and really enhance and really try to match the course book and the offerings to what our students are really interested in. So it sounds like a major overhaul, but it really is just trying to up the ante a little bit, to really align with their interests, to get what they're excited about. Remember, we have like 1,300 kids at our high school, and we have a lot of different needs. So we're really trying to make sure that we offer a wide variety to reach as many kids as we can. And I know the other question is probably staffing. Is you're adding all of these courses, does that mean you're adding all of these teachers? Well, remember, our course enrollment and what we run is dependent upon how many kids actually sign up. We have a minimum number of 15 students that we have to hit in order for that course to run. So while it sounds like we may be adding all of these teachers, we're trying to see what we can hit to see what our kids want to sign up for. We hope that they really are excited. That's why we really try to up the technology piece, the STEAM piece. I hope you saw that throughout. CACC
There's a
is
lot
offering
of
that.
interest in the technology side of the house with our students, and this is gonna be fantastic because their curriculum in Project Lead the Way is second to none.
And Project Lead the Way partners with College Board, so they have that direct link to AP. They also partner with Toyota, with Caterpillar. A lot of major companies, Verizon is a partner of Project Lead the Way. So we're really hoping to bring some of those opportunities to our students to better be prepared for college and career as they leave us.
They also partner with a lot of universities, and eventually there could be some dual credit opportunities.
So let's talk dual credit for a minute, because you didn't hear any dual credit courses being added, and that's because in order for us to offer dual credit, that teacher has to hold a master's degree in that specific course. That is very difficult for us to staff. For instance, I'm gonna use Brent Duggins at the high school. He's our history department.
Yes.
I think he'd be okay that I'm talking about him. Both my kids have had him. He's good with it, right? Okay, he's the only one in that department who has the master's in history, which is why he's the only one who teaches dual credit history. He teaches the dual credit US history for us. The AP Psych that we're adding, you have to have the endorsement in psychology. We have a teacher who already holds that licensure, so that's why we're finally able to offer that course. So while some people don't necessarily understand the difference between dual credit and AP, and they want us to keep offering more, a lot of that is contingent upon licensure, especially the dual credit route, which makes it very difficult for us to staff.
It is very difficult to staff. A lot of our teachers have other master's degrees, but they may be in other areas such as leadership,
Curriculum and instruction,
Mhm.
educational administration.
and you have to have it specifically in that area.
No, I was just gonna say also, many of you have heard college and career readiness, and this is really what this is all honing in on. You know, we're not just preparing students to go to college, we're preparing students for life after their K-12 experience. So whether they go into vocations, whether they do go to college, or whether they go directly into the workforce, we want to make sure that they have the skills, and that's why we're partnering so close with so many of the community opportunities, whether those be hospitals, whether they be unions, whether they be universities, and so it's really opened up a lot of doors for our kids, so it's great.
We're excited.
Yes, sir.
I really appreciate somebody's thinking about water conservation here in Chatham, because I know how difficult to get any water. My question is, you are talking about cybersecurity, so do we have the staff to teach that kind of course?
That is actually run at CACC. Currently, the lady that teaches it, I think she's only got a year or two left. She also works alongside with the FBI, so she's very good at that and knows what she's doing. But again, that's a CACC staff.
But the great news is cybersecurity is the 4th course of the pathway for computer science through Project Lead the Way. So in 4 years, we're gonna be able to offer, hopefully, cybersecurity because we have kids who want to do it. And along the engineering pathway, eventually our kids, we hope to have the opportunity to take a course in civil engineering, architecture.
And it is something, especially with the engineering side, that we can start, as we add courses, start to decide, depending on what the kids want, which ones we add, because they have courses on civil engineering, they have courses on mechanical engineering, on very, very specific. And so instead of adding them all at once, we want to find out eventually what the interest is and add those.
So do we, pay for, is it a licensing project Lead the Way?
We do have to, it's a curriculum we do get through them, and we
Okay.
have to use their specific our teachers will be trained specifically by them.
Okay.
They have hands-on training that they will attend in the summer, but then they also have ongoing on-demand training where they're connected to a network of instructors across the state, across the country to work through it. We do initially get the materials through them, but then we have the opportunity to go on our own direction. But initially, they will be very involved, and there is a financial commitment. I want to be very upfront with that. There's a financial commitment for the materials, for the resources, for the professional development, and also the staffing. But we think our kids deserve it, and we should prepare for it.
What is the financial commitment just for the licensing? Do you have a number on that, Jen?
When you put it all together, you're looking at anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000.
Oh, then, okay, yeah, it's good.
And in those summer courses, my former school, we had engineering project Lead the Way. Those summer courses are 2 weeks long for the high school courses. They're extremely intensive. And they make the teachers go through everything the kids are going to go through and do all of the projects during those 2 weeks. So you are living it for those 2 weeks before you actually teach it. Thank you guys very much.
You're next. We'll vote.
Hold on. Need a motion
Yeah,
to
we'll vote.
approve GHS course handbook change.
Second.
Ashley?
Phipps.
Yes.
Rewrite.
Yes.
Maddox.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Worley.
Yes.
Bryant.
Yes.
And Brewer.
Yes. 8.2, GMS course handbook change.
Good evening, Christine Lane, principal of Lumber Middle School. And we also have some course book recommendations for change. And some of those will include Project Lead the Way. To start with, we did have a minor change, which I feel is important. When we look at the map testing data that we use, kids are given a RIT score, which is, we used to use Lexiles a lot. Lexiles doesn't mean a lot to people because we don't use them as often, so kids don't understand necessarily what they mean. But they are familiar with the RIT scores, and teachers are familiar with the RIT scores, and hopefully parents are too if they see those map tests come in. So when we look at honors courses in our course booklet, we have switched all of the language from Lexile scores to RIT scores so that kids better understand where they need to be in order to get recommended for those honors courses. And that goes across the board in language arts, science, and social studies. So those changes have been made. That was the only core curricular area that has changed. We have done some major work in our electives department. We've been talking about this for about 2 years. I started those conversations with our department coordinator last year, and as we have gotten new staff, almost our entire Encore department is new to our district. And that brings with them new excitement, new ideas, a lot of passion for some things. And it's also a great time then to look at where do we need to be as a middle school. So when you look at kids coming up through the elementary buildings in GIS, they're really exposed to kind of everything, whether it's music, band, art, all of those things. They're constantly taking all of those things. And when they get to high school, they're really starting to get specific about what those things are. Right now at the middle school, we have a little of this, a little of that, a little of this, and we said, you know what, let's really kind of streamline this. And so we're looking at pathways and those disciplines. And instead of just having a little piece here and a little piece there, we're making them year-long pathways or year-long courses in each of those disciplines where we can give kids a true taste of what is family and consumer science, what all goes into family and consumer science, what goes into art, what all those things. And so we're giving them a taste of everything within that year in each of those disciplines. So as I go through that, that's kind of the mindset behind these changes. And, I challenge them to think, big. What is it? And not just what do we want to expose our kids to in those disciplines, but where do we want to lead them, and how can we bring our electives into the next century and bring in some of those pieces that maybe haven't been there before. So it was a little bit overwhelming, and plus when you have to get this prepared, when you're just getting used to a new school, is quite an undertaking. And I'm really, really proud of my on-course staff. They've worked super hard. Josh and Brett have made themselves available and have really spent a lot of time with them too to make these changes. So I can tell you right now that the only courses that are the same are our mixed choir, our 2 band courses, and our construction technology course that involves the making of the shed that probably many of you are familiar with. Everything else has changed. So with that, under technology education, we have the construction technology class, which has stayed the same, but then we've also added 2 of our Project Lead the Way pathways. We want to mirror and support what the high school's doing, and they're branching out into the consumer science and in the engineering band, so we are going to follow suit to help our kids prepare for those endeavors in high school. One thing that we heard when we visited these Project Lead the Way school in Canton was that it's a whole different way of learning, and so kids who experienced that in the middle school we're ready to go at the high school and really ready to dive in because it is a different way of learning. So we're going to offer a Gateway to Engineering course. Within that year-long course, we are going to tackle 2 Project Lead the Way 9-week courses during that time. One of them will be Flight in Space, and the other one will be Automation and Robotics. We got to see the automation and robotics in action. Kids were all over the floor with parts and computers. It was pretty exciting to see, very hands-on, and I think that kids are really going to get excited about that. The other 2 quarters, we still have our Fuse programming in place, and we're going to utilize that to fill in some gaps until we really get a handle on some of our Project Lead the Way courses and see where we want to go next with that. So that's the Gateway to Engineering course. The other one is the Gateway to Computer Science course, and this involves 2 9-week courses called App Creators and Computer Science for Innovators and Makers. And I am not going to lie that I know a lot about computer science, but it sounds really cool. And I think the kids are going to love it. And we've actually already gotten some kids excited about it. Brett Moore and Bob Cox have come over, totally out of the box, and they're doing a coding class during kids' lunchtime. So we did 8th grade first semester, and we're doing 7th grade next semester. And so they're already, and to see them programming little things that look like those hamster balls with robots inside, and they're going all through the school. It's pretty fun to see, and they're certainly excited about that kind of learning. So we're really excited that we're going to be offering those next year to our students. So that's our technology education. For family and consumer science, we're calling this class Facts of Life. If any of you guys are in my generation, that rings a bell. Facts spelled capital F, lowercase a, and then CS for family and consumer science. In this course, she is going to cover topics such as career exploration, textiles and design, personal finance, economics, and then basic foods and culinary concepts. She's got some new ideas. They just did a chopped version at school the other day where kids were given a bag and they had certain ingredients in there, and they had to go to town on that. So it's a lot of fun. She's bringing in some new ideas, and I'm excited to see where this is going to go. So that's our family and consumer science path. For art, she's going to call this Dimensions of Art, and she is really, it was funny, I was talking to Brett after he met with her, and he says, she was talking over my head. And if you know Brett, that's saying a lot. So she's going to still introduce some of those basic concepts of art, 2D art, 3D art, but she's also going to be bringing in some digital art. We have begun looking at virtual reality art, which I didn't even know existed, but that could be a potential down the road. She's talking about bringing in some ideas with photography, creating logos, and working across various art forms. So she's got a lot of great ideas. Brett's going to work with our team this next semester to really fine-tune some of these plans for these classes, but I'm excited to see where the art goes. The next area is we had public speaking and drama, and we have put this under what we would call communications because that's what it is. So basically we're taking those the same principles of public speaking, writing, communicating through drama, all of those skills of communicating, but we're amping it up, and she is bringing in green screen, podcasting, some elements of broadcasting, feature writing, some really practical ways for kids to get things out there. We've dabbled with a school paper this year. That's a project that she might look to take on into that classroom as well. Again, she's working with Brett to make this a lot of fun, and she's calling it Stop, Communicate, and Listen. And she's going to be using things like GarageBand, Audacity, WeVideo. So she's got some fun ideas too, and I think this is going to be great. For vocal and instrumental music, Zoe Zara is our new choir director, and she came in with a lot of ideas as well. And she recognizes, and it was interesting because Doug and I hadn't talked about this before, but they're creating a music class for those students who really love music and playing with music and creating with music, but aren't necessarily wanting to perform, in a choir setting. So she's created a class called Class Crescendo, and they're going to be doing all kinds of things in that class, including music history, going through different genres of music, favorite artists and songs, taking pop music, making their own jingles, doing some group sings, and then doing a final writing project. But she's got some great ideas to incorporate some technology in there, so she's excited about that class and what she can do with those kids. She's also bringing back what was called Titan Timbre, and this is going to be basically our honors choir group. Students are going to have to audition to be in that group, but it gives kids who maybe already have some basic singing vocal skills to be able to step that up a notch a little bit. That's it. Any questions?
Okay, we need a motion to approve EMS course handbook.
Second.
Worley. Yes. Bryant. Terry.
Yes.
Maddox. Phipps. J-Raj.
Yes.
Brewer.
Yes. 8.3 is information only. This reflects a change in the cycle of board meeting dates starting in January. 9, communications. 9.1, again, future board meeting dates upcoming. 9.2, opportunity for anyone to address the school board concerning any topic. Please come to the podium, state your name, comments at 5 minutes or less.
Good evening. I'm Greg Haynes. Presently, I'm employed as the head custodian at Glenwood Intermediate School and currently serving as president of the Ball-Chatham Educational Support Professionals Association, or the BCSD5. I've been with the district for almost a decade. I currently make $12.58 per hour as the head custodian with a small stipend. The BCSD5 represents about 250 non-certified employees, custodians, secretaries, paraprofessionals, maintenance and trade workers, nurses, cooks and cashiers, and bus drivers, who serve about 4,700 some odd students in our district. We also represent hall monitors, library aides, detention supervisors, our safe coordinator at the high school, prevention coordinator, and our pre-K parent coordinator. As you might guess from the list of job titles, our membership is the support or the glue that keeps our teachers teaching and our schools running smoothly. Unfortunately, we've been working without a contract since July 1st. We've been in negotiations with the district since July until the board decided to ask for a federal mediator. We've only met face-to-face 8 times. Our union is committed to winning a fair contract for our members, and we believe that our offers have been fair and affordable. This is about the people who work with our community's children. We make so little money that many of us have 2 and even 3 jobs just to put food on the table and afford to live in the community in which we serve. We continue to lose educational support staff, Over the last 5 years, it's been a revolving door and many unfilled positions. We can't put our students first if we put our educators last. This couldn't come at a worse time. The majority of our members make less than $17,500 a year. Many people don't realize their children's bus drivers, classroom aides, and cooks don't get paid or make money when the school is closed. The holidays are the most expensive time of the year for many families, and for those who dedicate their lives to the students in our community, it is especially difficult. We know the district has the money to meet our request without raising taxes. We're not asking for the moon. We know we're not going to get rich doing what we do, but we do deserve a livable wage. A 3% raise might sound fair to some of you on the salaries or pensions you earn, but when you consider that a paraprofessional making $12 an hour would only take home an additional $21.60 a week with a 3% increase, it is far from fair. The minimum wage in Illinois will increase by 21% by July of next year. Educational support professionals that work with children should be paid well above the minimum. I've heard board members say you get what you pay for. But low wages are only part of the problem. The insurance premiums this year have skyrocketed for ESPA as it has for all employees in the district. Premiums have jumped by nearly $200 or more per paycheck for some of our members. The insurance increases represent a nearly 13 to 15% hit to our already poverty level wages. Meanwhile, over the past 3 years, the district has nearly doubled its fund reserves. The district has over 200 days of cash on hand, gaining it a top fiscal rating from the Illinois State Board of Education, ISB. And on their most recent annual financial report, show a list of fund reserve of $23.3 million. This battle is about more than wages. It's about a mission and a vision of Ball-Chatham. The educators of Ball-Chatham believe the school's vision should be one that serves the best interests of students and their family over the long term. That requires committing resources necessary to recruit and then retain the most talented staff. We love caring for children of our community, but we need to be able to provide for our own children too. On November 20th, which ironically was National ESP Day, Dr. Wood shared an email with our membership thanking us for all that we do. He wrote to us, in recognition for all the hard work our ESP staff does each day, we will have a casual day tomorrow. While the members and the ESP staff employed by the district appreciate a kind word, they cannot feed their family, purchase their children's prescriptions, or pay for dental care with words. If the board truly appreciates the work that we do, then work with us and settle a fair and just contract. The reserve that you have sitting, and that number may have changed a little bit, yeah, it's shameful for what you're doing to these people here. You can go to the ISB website and look and see what you have reported. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Danielle Fox. I am a parapro out at Ball Elementary. I absolutely love what I do. I've been working with children since I was 15 years old, starting out in Pleasant Plains at our after-school program. If I didn't love children, I wouldn't be where I am. I'm currently trying to work my way towards getting a master's in special education so I can help these children even more. I come from Zasset Central. I worked with BD High School kids for 3.5 years until I made the switch by the push of my teacher to come to Chatham to make a better life for my children. I'm a single mother of 2 children. I have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. While I love working with the children here in the school district, I cannot feed my own. My oldest daughter receives free and reduced lunch at Pleasant Plains. If I lived within the boundaries of this school district, I would qualify for the backpack meal program. I make less than $14,000 a year. I could not take the insurance due to the fact that I had to choose between feeding my family and having medical coverage. I have multiple health issues myself, but I have to deal with what the state can give me because I cannot afford the insurance here. I'm not asking for thousands of dollars. I'm just asking to be able to take care of my kids the way I am expected to take care of the kids of this district. On any given day, I work with 6 children directly. However, I come in contact with almost every child at Ball Elementary. And I can say I love them just as much as I love my own. And I want to give them just as much as I give my own. I don't want more than what is expected to live on. I just want to be able to pay my bills and help the kids of this district along with my own children. Thank you.
Hello again. So my name is Kendra Day, and I work at Glenwood Elementary. And for right now, I'm going to put on a different hat, and I'm going to speak for a friend who's sick and couldn't speak. She wanted me to mention that our job is not just a position, but we put our heart, our soul, our mental, our emotional states on the line. And with her particular student, she is verbally, physically, mentally abused daily. And administration is aware, but our administration's hands are tied due to other circumstances even I don't know about. But this student physically abuses her, threatens to kill her, to kill her family. My caseworker is expected to service the student and the student's parents, even though this particular kid has looked at her and said, I will kidnap your son and I will kill him. And so I don't say that to say that we don't love that kid, because we love the unlovable, and we love that kid. We want to help that kid, but we don't have anybody helping us right now. And so it's hard to love the unlovable when we don't have the support ourselves. And so she just wanted me to say that. And it's not just once, it's not just every once in a while, it's every day, every week, verbal and physical and mental abuse. And we do it because we have a heart for these kids. Okay, now I'm gonna be mean.
Who are you speaking on behalf of? What's that person's name?
I am not at liberty to say, because I don't know if she wants to reveal.
Is she an employee?
Yeah, she's another paraprofessional.
Well,
Yeah, sorry.
then I'm confused as to why you would come before the board and feel hesitation about giving her name. Because we don't have, I mean, it seems that her comments have a lot of valid points, but anonymously, they don't carry the weight. I mean,
We'll be happy to get you a name. There will be no problem getting you a name.
Okay, that sounds
We'll get you a
fine.
name, we'll get you more as much information as you could possibly want on that matter and many, many more.
Thank you, Sean. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
Okay. And also, so I asked for help. I sent an email personally to the district office on December 2nd due to several sick coworkers. And I was told that it's a state issue that we're short paraprofessionals. And while I recognize that, I'm a teacher's kid and I grew up in the school system, and I understand a little bit of like backgrounds and like things that we don't know as people that are on the front lines. But in January, we're expected to get one paycheck. then our next paycheck doesn't come until the second week of February. I'm lucky because I could move back in with my mom and my dad because I can't afford to buy a house right now. But for my coworkers, my one coworker has 4 children, and her paycheck in January is expected to feed them through January all the way to the second week of February, and that's just not right. We should not work full-time and be at poverty level. I didn't make $13,000 last year, it was less than that. And that makes me mad because I also see my student has gone 2 weeks with 100% on his behavior tracker. And for anyone who knows this student, like, that's amazing. And I know that I can't be replaced. Me specifically, I can't be replaced. My connection with that kid cannot be replaced. You can put someone else in a position, it's not gonna be the same. But we feel like we're viewed as being replaceable, and we don't feel like humans, and that's not right. And I hope that you hear us, and I hope that you understand that we're here for the kids. That's why we're here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just want to be careful of student confidentiality moving forward. My only concern. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, you can do it. Just want to make sure we forget.
I'm Donna O'Mahan. I'm the Cafeteria Manager at Chatham Elementary. I've been with this school district for 28 years. I've gone through 7 superintendents, and I've gone through 8 principals. I've gone through 4 food service directors. We've seen so many changes over the school over these years, from good old let's fry some chicken and have some mashed potatoes and corn and bread and butter, and to let's have some African gumbo. We now have I'm not gonna pat him on the back, but anyway, we have a pretty good food service director. But anyway, we have done so much, not only in the cafeteria, but our playground, our supervisors, our teachers. We are connected to this school. Now, I've heard people say, you know what, if you don't make enough money, go someplace else. That's not who you want in this school district. You don't want somebody that says, you know, I don't make enough money, so I'm just gonna find someplace else. I'll go to Walmart and make more money. I've heard how much they make at Menards. I could go there and work. I could go back into nursing. Well, no, I couldn't because I'm too old. But the thing of it is, you've got to start listening to the people that are dedicated to your school district. This school district, when I started here a long time ago, was top notch. People were fighting to get jobs at the Ball-Chatham School District. We were begging to do it. When I started, it was like, oh my gosh, I got to the Ball-Chatham School District. And everyone was like admiring me because you had that job. Now, we have a sub list that actually makes out, and she does her best. There is probably 30 names on that list, and you cannot find a sub. I called 26 people the day before yesterday to try to get a sub to come and work for us. We were 3 people short, and there was no one to be happy. Now, yes, you can put a body someplace, you know, just put a warm body in that special ed room. That kid will be okay. No, he won't. He will not be okay. The bus drivers. When the bus drivers started, or when the kids get on the bus driver knew who they were. They knew where that kid was. They knew that they weren't going to the wrong bus stop. They knew what their mom and dad looked like. Now, the bus drivers are coming in, and no disrespect to the new bus drivers or anybody else. They're just people that come in and chat. I'm gonna drive for Chatham. Okay, whatever. There's no connection, you guys. We are dedicated to these people because we love them. We are dedicated to this school because we love it. It's not because we just want a job. I know that some of my parapros at my school have 4 and 5 kids to take care of every day. And when one of those children is not having a good day, the other ones are popping in to help. At the cafeteria, if my playground people are having trouble, we go help. When my kitchen people are having trouble, we go help. We're a team. But we've got to feel like we're worth something And I've been locked in at my pay for 8 years. Now, I know when someone said that they worked at the state, they had, 6 years, they didn't have a raise. I understand that. I could go someplace else. I love my job. And if you feel like you love your job, you're gonna do good at your job. But you've gotta have some respect, and you've gotta have the support, and know that people care. And it's not just the money, it's the everything else that goes along with it. We've had awards given to us because we've done really, really well. And, pat on the back, yay, that's wonderful. It's good, but it doesn't pay the bills. Thank you.
My name is Lisa Nahani. I think, unfortunately, was here 2 months ago. I have a child in the special ed room at Chicago Elementary with Mrs. Weiser and several of the paraprofessionals. I hear all of the staff and their loyalty to Chatham. I've also seen that revolving door of the paraprofessionals because there aren't enough of them. The reason why I was here before 2 months ago. And the ones that come leave because they're understaffed, the kids do have issues, and I see 30 patients a day. I can't tell you how many I've asked. You want to be a paraprofessional? Have you worked with these kids before? Or people that I know from other schools ask, Chatham, look, Chatham, they need to. Are you kidding? I'm not going to Chatham. They're horrible. They don't pay. They treat their staff horrible. And then I'm thinking, what is my kid going through? You've got to support these people that take care of the kids that the board's supposed to speak for. You have to. And might I remind you that when they leave, you're in non-compliance with the law. So we've got to keep them here. And like the kind lady said before, you don't want a warm body just to be in compliance. You want the ones that are dedicated, that love the kids. So I don't know why you wouldn't give a little now rather than get taken in the future. That's
My name is Faith Winston Yanger. I'm a special needs parapro at Fluid Middle School. We have a shirt that says one district, one family. Okay, I have not put that shirt on because I do not believe that we are part of the family. And I feel like that needs to be resolved here now with this contract as soon as possible, because we do need money. And you all make a lot of money. We don't, and we love this community. We love it. Otherwise, nobody would be here. So please think and consider how everything works, okay? Thank you.
I'm Gail Bibben. I work at Glenwood Middle School, and I actually have a question for the board. I'm a parapro. Do you know what my job entails? Do you understand what a paraprofessional is?
I've observed
Okay.
classrooms, paraprofessionals working on it.
Okay. I'm a resource officer. I escort kids to and from classrooms. Oh, I'm in the emotionally disturbed room, BD room, some people call it.
Oh. We got to be careful with student confidentiality.
Oh,
Let's be
I'm
careful.
sorry. Okay. I'm in a contained classroom. Is that better?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry. But I help escort students to and from different classrooms. I am the one that sits with the kid when he is, or she, upset and needs somebody to talk to, but they don't feel comfortable going to anybody else, because I have a rapport with them. In past jobs that I have had, I've done tube feedings. I have taken children to the restroom and actually wiped their hinds because they are unable to do that. I have continued physical therapy because they need physical therapy every day and the therapist can't be there every day. So I was a therapy assistant. I've helped with speech because they're supposed to have certain speech patterns that they have to do every day, and the speech pathologist cannot be there every day. I just don't do one thing. I don't sit in a classroom. I keep track of behaviors. I sit and scribe for the children because they are not able to write. There is more that we do than just be in a classroom. We are these children's friends. We're also their disciplinarians when they need it, but they know we love them. They know that we are there for them. They know that if they don't feel comfortable going to somebody else, I have 2 students now that call me mom. I'm their school mom because they don't have that connection with their parent. And it's really sad that I looked at my paycheck for tomorrow. Oh no, it's not gonna last. Actually, probably much more than tomorrow. And I love my job. When you see a student that finally gets something, they finally were able to complete a task, it breaks your heart with gladness because they got it. They understood it. They are bright. You see their faces just shine because they've completed something that maybe somebody told them that they would never do. I had a student previous that really couldn't use the computer. The student was unable to work their hands correctly. My student learned to work on the computer, learned to be able to do that stuff. The student was also, when I got them, one that could not go from point A to point B by themselves. My student got it. Independence is so important to our students, and we're the ones that are teaching it. But we don't have the independence to be able to do stuff for our kids because we don't have the money to do it. And so think about those students that finally get stuff, and it is because of the parents and the teachers that have spent the extra time and have become mom and dad, because the kids need us. But I will tell you that I am as happy when they make their expectations as if they're my own. You know, I wish you could just actually be a part of the joy that we feel because we love these kids.
Thank you.
I brought props. My name is Tara Hayes, and I teach music at GIS. This is my 11th year here, and I have been blessed to be here. I grew up in Girard and moved away, came back, and I've been here and I love it. And I've had the support of administration from my very first day up till now. And personally, I would not want to teach anywhere else. One of the first things that happened within my first couple of weeks of working in this district is, as a new teacher, they say, okay, here's your budget, here's your room, what do you need? And I used district funds to purchase a whiteboard that had staff on it, and it came, and I remember I was like maybe second weekend of school, and I was so excited to have it all set up, ready to teach. And as I was moving across the floor, it was wobbling back and forth. And this is like a $300 or $400 item. And the custodian in charge of my room happened to be in there, and I said, you know, I said, my dad was a farmer, and I said, he always taught me to make things, if you're gonna make something, make it well, make it last. And I said, it makes me so mad that I just ordered this, and it's come in, and it's put together, and it's not made well. It's not gonna last, it's gonna fall apart. And I showed up to school the next day with a 2x6, 5-foot 2x6, bracing the bottom of that board. That's example one. I'm a little bit emotional because, you know, it's family, you know, and that was about 2 weeks. That person didn't know me. They didn't know anything other than I needed that board, and I was excited, and I was really upset because it wasn't gonna last, and it was district money purchasing, and I don't know who bought 2x6, but I know it's still screwed into that board today, and it's 11 years later, okay? I don't know how many years in to teaching here, I was asked to be in charge of teaching an adaptive class for art, music, and PE. And I was terrified because that was not something I had done. I had always taught music in a classroom setting, and paraprofessionals brought their students in, and they worked with the students, and I never got to know those students super well because it was a large classroom setting. And so I took that on, and it has been one of the biggest blessings that I've ever had. And a huge part of that is working with several of the people that are sitting in here tonight. But we are a team. That's the thing that you know, resonates throughout the districts. And I have no part in this other than just knowing what everyone does. And I'm not a person who posts things and says, oh, this is what I did, or look at me here or there, but I'm gonna do that for a few people tonight, okay? So as a teacher teaching the adaptive art class, I use district funds, $51 of district funds, to buy a plastic adaptive pair of scissors for a student in a wheelchair who only has the use of one hand, so that this can sit on the table and they can participate in our classroom. But when it arrives, it's just this little piece of green plastic that's like a plastic McDonald's cup. So when the student who doesn't have 100% control over which way their hand goes to push that down and cut that piece of paper, it flings off the table. So I go to Johnny and Craig and I say, guys, I said, I know you know these students, and I said, it's gonna be a waste of district money. We bought it, it's not made well. What can we do? Whenever you have time, I know you have a million things to do. And I brought this so you can feel how sanded and smooth and rounded and perfect. This is how it should have been made, because it was made with love for our kids. So I'm gonna pass that on. When I had a student in a wheelchair coming into a classroom designed for a choir with tiers built into the floor, and that child couldn't participate as part of the entire group for certain parts of our activities, I went to the guys again. I said, hey guys, I said, you know, the school was built this way before codes, and I have a student this year, last year I didn't, but this year I do, who's in this wheelchair. And I said, I don't want them to ever feel left out. Is there anything we can do? Sure enough, we have 4 ramps that fit perfectly from one level to the other, so it's a perfectly smooth surface from the top of my room to the bottom. Once again, I don't know where the wood came from.
I do.
Once again, well, you know, it's one of those things. It's quality. It's quality. It's sturdy. We still use them. We don't use them in that classroom anymore, but we use them in the PE class for the students. We cover them in mats, and they lay down on the floor, and they use them for when they do sit-ups or crunches or different activities where they're trying to walk uphill and downhill like they're going to do out in public for their own safety. Those are the skills that they're building, you know? And I just wanted to give a few examples because there are many things that I see, and I was trying to think about the perspective, you know, your perspective and everyone else's perspective, and it's easy because I'm not you and I'm not them. When it comes right down to it, all the people in this room love these students very much. You've heard that, but your part is the money part, you know. I walked into the teacher's lounge last year to someone crying because they weren't going to have a check in January because of the holidays. And then 2 hours later, I was working with that same person, and they were high-fiving their students and giving hugs. They put their personal stuff aside, and they did their job, and they did it with quality. You know? It's something that I sometimes feel guilty about because I have parents write me little notes or say thank you for this or for that, but many of the things that I have in mind that I want to do with students aren't possible without the other people who tell me how it should be done. I remember the very first year I taught that class, I was about to do an activity, and the paraprofessional with me with that student said, I just want you to know if you do it this way, that's how this student's going to do it every single time. You all know, right? Okay. I didn't know. Last year I had a student in art class, and we were doing a coloring activity, and a paraprofessional looked at me, and she said, you know, I think the student might be the nurse. And I looked at the student, and I'm aware of all the information in the IEPs, and I looked at the student, and to me, I was, okay, what do we need the nurse for? And she's like, well, I think the student might be having a seizure. And I said, okay. I said, what makes you think that? And she goes, well, this student who she's with nonstop, day in, day out, never has crayons in front of her and doesn't color. I didn't know that. And we got the nurse, and the student was having a seizure. I've had students come into class, and we'll be in the middle of the class, and someone will go, you know what? They don't look like they normally look. They're not acting like themselves. And sure enough, they go to the nurse, and they have a fever, and they go home. I'm just there. I've got my plans. I've got the kids. We started the lesson, and I see them for 30 minutes every day. But those people who come with those students, they know their kids. And so when you have the turnover that we're having, it's emotional, yes, but it really does matter to the kids, and it matters to the kids' parents, and it matters to every other aspect of what we do in the day. So I just wanted to come from a different perspective because there are a lot of good tears that have been shared over the years, because there are a lot of special moments because of the relationships that all of these people form with the kids. And we talk a lot about leadership and teaching students how they should act and what they're going to need when they grow up. And when they see people walking down the hall being respectful and appreciative, when they see someone come in with something they fixed for me just for a class, you know, they see those things and how we interact and how we respect one another. And they're learning how to be people of quality. No matter what position they're observing in our schools, they're learning how to be that successful person who puts in effort and cares, not because they're getting paid for it, because that's what you do when you have a job. So earlier when someone said you get what you pay for, I actually think you guys are getting more than what you're currently paying for. So
my name is Marissa Johnson. I am not a paraprofessional. I am not a bus driver. I am none of these things. I just graduated from Glenwood High School in 2017, and I'm 20 years old. I'm a college student at Oklahoma City University. So forgive me if I'm a little shambly. I didn't know I was going to be speaking tonight, but I thought you should see what these people have done. I know that it's important that you hear what they're doing currently, but I think you need to know what they've done and what has come out of that. I am a result of, looking around here now, a majority of people in this room, because I have been in the school district since kindergarten, and I've stayed in the school district since my graduation, and all these people have I've seen for years now, and they are part of my family, and it is because of them that I am here today. I just finished up my fall semester at school where I received a 4.0 and was on the President's Honor Roll. I hold an executive position in my sorority on campus. I'm a member of lots of student-run organizations, which I also was in high school and middle school and things like that. I've been in the Miss America organization. I know character, and these people have character, and I feel that they're not being rewarded for that. They haven't been acknowledged for that, and it's interesting because I was picking up a friend of mine who's in the school district now, and I was telling her, you know, I remember growing up, Ball-Chatham was the coolest school district ever. We had fun Fridays in the cafeteria at the elementary school. We did all these awesome things. We were the best school. My friends in other school districts were jealous of me. And I said this to my friend who is in middle school now. She said, really? We used to be like that? And it just made me really sad because they don't get that. They don't see that. The kids know what's going on. And I think when we start acknowledging these people, then we can help these kids move on. So I think some of the stories that I have told you today are so inspiring, and I see it happening, but it's already happened, and I'm proof of that. I'm gonna graduate soon, and I'll go out to the professional world, but I have friends who went on to U of I and are studying to be doctors, and are studying to be teachers, and future presidents, future world leaders. Like, it's just so cool to me that they're coming from Ball-Chatham. But it's because of these people. It's because of my favorite custodians, my favorite bus drivers, and my favorite lunch ladies who still know my name and are like family. I mean, my mom did an amazing job raising me, but so did this. So it's just kind of interesting to me because I was talking to my mom. I'm like, Mom, fill me in. I don't know what's going on. I have to get back in a while. And she's like, well, honey, she dumps it down for me. We don't have a contract. But Mom, I have a contract, and I'm a performing arts major at my school, and I have a contract. So it was just kind of interesting to me to hear some of the things that she tells me about and how passionate she is, and how I have seen firsthand how she treats the kids as if they were me. We go to the grocery store and they see her and they run up to her and give her a big hug, and I see the impact that she has on them and that she's had on me. So I would just ask you to look at me, and if you think I'm doing okay, maybe grant them that respect and that honor that I see.
Hi, my name is Sue Miller. I'm a bus monitor and playground monitor at Chatham Elementary. I started working here in 2016 in February as a sub. I'm sorry to say that Mary, I got $8.25 an hour when I started as a sub, and that was 13 years after she started. Also, when I was hired that fall, full-time on the playground and the bus, I also got $10 an hour, the same thing Mary got 16 years ago. That's not good. I know that, I don't know if a lot of you are aware of it, but Illinois' current minimum wage is $8.25 an hour. As of January 1st, it's going to go up to $9.25 an hour. Then it's going to go to $10 an hour by July, and then every year it's going to increase until it's $15 in 2025. So I know you guys are sitting here and thinking, we can just sit back and wait and let this thing ride. It's all going to be good in 5 years, but it isn't, because it already isn't good, because that minimum wage should have been increased for many years. $7.25, state $7.25, federally still is for the last 10 years. How many people know that? 10 years we've had the same minimum wage. Where if it had been adjusted, as it had in the past, currently our minimum wage would be about $22 an hour. You're asking people to live on $10 and $12 and $11 an hour. You know that's not a living wage. I don't have to tell you that. You're smart people. You should do something about this. Thank
Would anyone else like to speak?
Hi, my name is Jason Johnson, and I'm not employed by the school district, but my wife is. That's a support person, and I do not know much of the details about the contract negotiations and stuff, but I do know what my wife and her coworkers go through every day when they think about what's happening and how they're not appreciated by a lot of the stuff that they're expected to do. I'm 58 years old, and I graduated from high school in 1979. And when I think about, I remember my time as a student in school, when I compare what I saw as a student compared to what these support people have to handle with their students, it's just, the difference is night and day. When I was a kid, you acted up, you got expelled, or parents, both parents were there to discipline the kid. Schools weren't in the business of disciplining the kids very much. Now, today, with the way families have had broken apart and with bad outside influences, these support people are basically taking care of these kids, or picking up the slack where parents refuse to do things and where teachers are just busy trying to teach their kids in the classroom. And I work with right now in my career, I work with a lot of people with advanced degrees. And I know, I don't want to accuse anybody on the board here, but I'm working with a lot of people with advanced degrees. And I know that sometimes when they look at people, employees that do not have advanced degrees, they consider them, well, they're replaceable, or what they do is routine. But let me tell you what these people do are not routine. These are the kind of people where if you're a kid and you're in second or third grade, what these people do can either destroy a kid or really lift a kid and push them on to better and greater things for the rest of their life. And I should know that because when I was in second, third, and fourth grade, I was in remedial reading, and I got taken out of the main classroom with a few other students and had to do catch-up reading with a few other special students. And thank God that the support staff that taught me in reading did their jobs, because if they didn't, I would have just been another kid fall through the cracks. But that didn't happen, because thank God I had the people, the support people that cared for me and other students like me. That's all I have to say.
I'm gonna make this fast because I get up here and talk every month. My name's Lisa Edmondson. I don't have to have any kind of quietness because I don't want to come to school. So she was talking about a child that's got hundreds in the last 2 weeks. She was talking about my kid. My child is in second grade. He has had 5 different parapros in the last 2 years. I have been told that there was 27 new teachers in the last 5 years. How many have we lost in the last 5 years? How many parapros, bus drivers, custodians have we lost in the last 5 years? How many have we lost tonight? This is crazy. My own son has lost 5 in 2 years. She's been his parapro for this year and about 3 weeks of last year. This is the only one he's ever connected with because this is the longest he's had one. It's messed him up big time. This is the only time he's gotten hundreds for 2 weeks because of it. Stop messing with our kids. We put him on a special ed bus. If it wasn't for those people, he wouldn't go to school in the morning. He loves them. He loves Cindy. She is the best bus driver ever. He is quirky, he is crazy in the morning, but she gets him on that bus, she gets him laughing, she gets him in a seat, and he's golden. Roger is a custodian. He loves to be put in charge of work. So Roger gives him a task to do at school. He loves to do it. It keeps him busy. These people work day in, day in with every school teacher or child, one way or another. But you're messing it up because we're losing them nonstop. Why is that? Why are they going to Springfield schools? Why are they going to Riverton schools? There's only one answer. Insurance and money.
My interest here is my wife, Faith, works as an aide at middle school. Yeah. And a lot's been said here tonight about professionalism, how much the teachers here, the aides care for the kids. And what I wanted to mention is, about 4 or 5 years ago, she had her leg broken by a disruptive student. Okay? She had several surgeries, was out of work for several months. At that time, I urged her, I pleaded with her, don't go back to work. It ain't worth it what you get paid. And quite frankly, the only person out of the whole entire school district that ever reached out and said anything required on her dad was Randy Allen. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate that, dude. So she wanted to go back to work. She was that dedicated to the job. So after all that, that tells you one thing we don't want to deal with. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no one else, we need a motion to adjourn.